would ask the press if they would be willing to not film the person that speaks after you, who has an anonymous testimony to the council.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good morning. My name is Kim L. Hunt, and I am the Executive Director of the Pride Action Tank, which is a multi-issue initiative that takes a collaborative approach to research, policy, and action with the goal of improving outcomes for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and intersex people. We are a project of the AIDS Foundation of Chicago and are here today to request approval of the Equal Access consistent with a person's gender identity amendment to the Chicago Human Rights Ordinance. And first of all, let me thank Chairperson Dow and the members of the Committee on Human Relations for hosting this public forum for receiving testimony on this important matter. Last fall, the Pride Action Tank was approached by one of our constituents to think about what could be done to increase restroom access for transgender and gender non-conforming people in Chicago. Many people were invited to the table to discuss how to proceed, and they included transgender people, small business owners, university faculty, medical students, and activists, and the Chicago Restroom Access Project, otherwise known as CRAP, was born as a working group. We thought we could simply ask business owners to change the signs of all of their single-stall restrooms to gender-neutral signs, but soon learned that we had a public policy problem that needed to be addressed. We were surprised to learn of our once very progressive Chicago Human Rights Ordinance had a carve-out in it that essentially required individuals to use gender-specific public accommodations like bathrooms that are consistent with the gender marker on their government-issued identification. And the irony is that at the same time this language was added to the ordinance in 2002, gender identity was added as a protected class, making Chicago one of a handful of cities at that time to recognize the importance of that change. This situation reminds me of the game I used to play with my siblings, where one of us would present a piece of candy in an open palm and snatch it away as the other child reached for it. Who knew that Chicago would be caught in the flurry of legislation designed to limit the rights of LGBTQ people? Since the historic Supreme Court ruling last June legalizing same-sex marriage nationwide, strides toward LGBTQ equality have come under attack by legislatures in 34 states and counting. These so-called bathroom bills attempt to bar transgender individuals from entering bathrooms that do not match the sex on their birth certificates. Chicago has its own challenges, but it is not North Carolina. Ironically, proponents tout bathroom bills as a way to protect the vulnerable, as in women and children, from predators, a notion that is based on fear, not evidence. In a recent Huffington Post article, more than 250 organizations that work with sexual assault and domestic violence survivors implored conservative politicians to stop using rape as a scare tactic to discriminate against transgender people. Even bathroom proponent Government Pat McCrory of North Carolina conceded that transgender individuals, there is no documented evidence of transgender individuals sexually attacking someone. And as we sit here today, and on a personal note, since lining up to come into the chamber at 9:30 this morning, I have been to the bathroom 3 times. There are those who I have been on the front lines with, who are here in the chamber today, and been on the front lines for LGBT equality with over a number of years, who I know are not comfortable going to the bathroom, even right here outside of the City Council chambers. The Committee on Human Relations can realign our human rights ordinance with this city's values of humanity and dignity by approving the amendment at hand and removing this antiquated language that dismisses the validity of gender identity. As my friend, trans rights activist, actress, and entrepreneur Angelica Ross recently said, regardless of what gender marker is on my ID, my humanity takes precedence, and the right thing to do is to prioritize the protection and safety of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hunt. If we can have